I found myself. I discovered myself. I learned something that I did not know.
Knowing me, I would have left. Be like, okay, clearly you guys can manage on your own.
What I find with the younger generations is that
X Factor Youth. I'm part of the X Factor Youth. Put me on stage, you can find me in the book. Put me on a track like I'm stuck inside a booth. I'm that nigga, young nigga with the truth. Black body with a Jewish mind type flow. Black man with a lot of grind, I know. Inside I go, my mind's on though. I hide my mode, me blind my bro. Never ever did they realize my bro. Grown man making niggas cry, my bro.
Greetings and salutations, your excellencies. It's your boy once again, Mr. Bliss CBF from the X Factor Youth. I'm here with an amazing guest. I've waited months for this, right? So bear with me. So this particular person really gave birth to what X Factor Youth is today. She doesn't really know it, but now this is where she gets her flowers. So without her organization, X Factor Youth wouldn't be what it is. So for me, I look at this person as a mentor. I look at her as a teacher, as a mom, as a truly extraordinary person. I always joke with my fellow brother, Sizwe, if you're watching this, I always say that she is the Black Mother Teresa. And then we're like, no, Mother Teresa was the white her. I'm not going to say the name yet, but without further ado, my queen, my mentor, Madam Mary Mlambo. How are you doing?
wow, I'm well and you, Bliss.
I'm good.
What an introduction.
Thank you. And I had to. It's important what you do. And I feel
Thank
like
you.
I just had to give you your flowers because I don't say it often, I know. But it's your moment now. So I had to make sure that I do it right.
All right.
How are you doing?
I'm great, as always. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I mean, It's my
Awesome.
birthday and I'm with you for my birthday.
Of course. Happy birthday.
Thank you
Blessings
so much.
beyond measure.
Thank you. I really, truly appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
And now the X Factor Youth gets a chance to see the person that kind of made me. You know, I think I always tell people that, I've been to Germany or whatever, but they do not know who sent me to Germany. And that person is you. So you can give us an introduction. I know you don't really like talking about yourself much, but how would you like us or the viewers to know Madam Mary Mlambo?
So, interestingly, you mentioned Mother Teresa. And I know somebody once said, hey, you are the modern day Mother Teresa. I'm like, no. I'm the modern day Mother Mary. She's not here. She's gone. So it's my time. It's me. So I'm Mother Mary. One day people will say there was Mother Mary, not modern day Mother Teresa. So I'm Mary Mlambo, born and bred in Soweto, White City. Grew up in White City. If anybody knows White City, then you will know where I come from. But with time and, life changes, things evolve. And I found myself in Richards Bay since 2012.
How did you find yourself there?
So I went to Richards Bay. Let me tell you how the journey started. So my husband and I loves traveling. And, at some point we were like, where can we go for holiday? So we had been to almost every small city in South Africa. And then he was like, let's go to Richards Bay. I'm like, what goes on in Richards Bay? It's an industrial little town. But because his cousin was there, he said to me, well, they've got a nice beach. It's a beautiful little town. I'm like, nah, all I know of Richards Bay is industrial. Then he says, well, my cousin is there. Let's go see. If there's nothing interesting, at least we'll get to visit my cousin. So that's how I found myself in Richards Bay in 2010, I think. 2011? No, 2010. That's how I found myself in Richards Bay. And we were in town at some guest house. Then when we drove through the village to go visit his cousin, I saw a very sad state of affairs in the little village of Mzingazi. When we drove past, you see young people walking around. It was during the day, in a weekday. There's a lot of young people walking around, some holding little children, some pregnant. Every second street corner, there's a tavern. And I had to ask questions like, what goes on in this town? And the wife to the cousin who's a teacher in one of the primary schools, she said to me, well, this is what Mzingas is about. Hopelessness, a lot of young people that don't really have ambition, don't have anything to do, challenges that they come across in school, in primary school. It's really sad what children go through. And then I was like, okay, is there any way that I can speak to some young people? So through connections, a lady organized about 13 young people. And I found myself sitting in somebody's rendezvous who loaned us their rendezvous. We were sitting there chatting to these young people. And the question I asked is that, what is going on? And they said, we are bored, we've got nothing to do. And like, what do you want? They said, we wish we had some place where it could be our own space as young people. So that's when I was like, okay, I've got an idea. I am going to build a youth center, which will be a resource center for the youth in Mzingas. That's how it came about.
Yeah. And then what was the process like to actually getting to build that center?
So the whole process was not an easy one. It was very difficult. I need to say that when all of that happened, I was still working. And 2011, I think. Yes, I might be mixing up the years. But I went to Ghana on a work conference. So I was a trainer for one of the other organizations that I volunteered for. So I went to Ghana to do some training. And while I was there, you know when you go to a country where you're going to facilitate a workshop, in the evenings, everybody goes home and you stay alone in the hotel. So I was there with the director of the organization, may his soul rest in peace, Mr. Kwame, who was a good friend as well. So, and then we went for a walk and we went to pray. And he said to me, you look very deep in thought. What are you thinking about? I said, there's this thing going on in the village of Mzingazi, and I've got a job, and it's a town I don't even know, and I don't know what I'm getting myself into. And he said to me, well, just pray for guidance, which I did. And when I came back, I did not think twice. I resigned, because had I left it and say, I'll think about it. So I resigned from work, and you have a meeting with the family and saying, you know what, life is going to be different, because now we will not have two incomes. There will now be only one income, which means we have to pitch some things in our lifestyle a bit lower than where we had pitched. Because, you pitch your lifestyle at a certain point, a certain level. So things had to change around. And moving to Mzingas, it was a challenge. You're not from there. You're foreign. You've got a different accent, because I come from Soweto, I come from Gauteng, so I've got a Gauteng accent. My isiZulu is not up to scratch, and people frown, like, who are you? What do you want? And, you talk to people, you say, okay, because the first start was starting with a kindergarten, with a creche, ECD, I don't know what you call it, where you say to young people, you can go back to school. We'll assist looking after the children for you. Excuse me. And then people are like, what do you want? So part of the biggest challenge that I came across in the beginning was that I did not have a place to work from. I worked from I rented a room, one room, 4x4, one room. That's where I stayed. So, and I had like a 2-plate hot plate stove. So that's where we cooked for the children and everything. And then we would take the food to the container where we worked. So we worked in one little container. So there was a lady who had 2 children, 2 young children. One was a newborn, like the baby was brought to us when she was 2 weeks old. And then of course you report to the authorities and everything. And the social worker says, every time we want to see this child, can we find the child during the day, by the way, because in the evenings the child would go home. Can we find this child at your place? I'm like, sure, no problem. The situation at home was not very kosher. I think my mistake, without realizing that I was making a mistake, is that I said to the lady, which is the grandmother of these two children, I said, a friend of mine had said, should you be looking for somebody to adopt this child, she's willing to take the child. Oh my God. Big mistake. I didn't know that. So when the social workers came, a few months down the line, because I really looked after this child. Every time I came home, remember I just left corporate. So every time I came home, I would ask for donations. So I would get nice, beautiful, some new clothes, formula, food, everything for the children. Multivitamins, everything you can think of for the baby. So a few months later, when the social workers came to take these children, the baby, to take her to a foster care or where she could be cared for, temporarily as well, not permanent, the lady went to the Induna and reported me that I stole her child, and she's aware because I had previously told her that my white friends want the child, my white friends in Joburg, so I actually want to go sell the child. I'm taking it under the pretense that the social workers took the child. That was one of the most difficult times of my beginning. So it was a process. It went through we even went for like a little court kind of type of thing, like a kangaroo court in a community hall where people were hurling insults at me, calling me all sorts of names. And then eventually it had to be resolved. I actually never said anything. When you know God and you trust God. I was sitting there in a community meeting and people were talking, and the social worker that took the children said, the child, sorry, not the children. They took one child even though there was two. He said to me, don't say anything. I just want, before you can say anything, I just want to have a conversation with the granny of the child. And so he kept on asking questions. And this woman was answering like, didn't we tell you that we will take the child? Yes, you did. Does anybody work at home? Nobody works. Do you have formula for the child? No, we don't have. Didn't Mary help you with the child? Yes, she did. So, when they kept on asking, eventually the Induna and his people were like, what actually is going on here? So they actually had to say, sorry, we realized that there was nothing wrong that you did. You didn't do anything wrong. This woman actually sold us lies. Needless to say, the woman and I today are actually just good friends. Yeah. Because she came back to apologize. After a while, she came back to apologize, and she realized that I was actually helping her, but it was not easy.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, or your excellencies. The name is Bliss Sibia, and I'm part of an amazing organization or club known as the X-Factor Youth. I am the founder and director, and we cease to exist to improve the lives of many young people across all socioeconomic spectrums. Your story is so powerful because knowing me, maybe I still have a bit of growth to do. I would have left, be like, okay, clearly you guys can manage on your own. What gave you that persistence to still be in a community that clearly is fighting back, but you still like the next generation will benefit from you being there? How were you able to balance that?
So part of my personality is that if I start something, I have to see it through. No matter how difficult it is, should I give up, then I must have exhausted all angles for me to say, you know what? This is not worth it. Let's dump it. Let's move on. And then, yeah, you are right. I could have easily just said, you know what, I've got my life back in Joburg. Let me go back. I could go back to the corporate and carry on with life. But I was like, nah, I'm not going to give them the satisfaction. Because then if I leave, they're going to say, okay, Vele, we caught her out early. Otherwise, she would have messed us up. So no, quitting was not an option. Also, remember I said, I didn't say, I felt this was a calling. So you always go back to God and say, if you called me for this, you will give me a solution. You will make sure that you see me through. Yeah. That's why I never quit. I never gave up.
Powerful. And then, I've spent a lot of time at Lungelo Youth Development. Yes. And what fascinates me the most is you Black, you're a woman, and you've managed to corporatize. Just seeing the way things are structured there. Where did you learn that?
So I worked in corporate in the insurance industry. And throughout my corporate work, I think the one place that really taught me that, and I'm grateful for it, is, I'll tell you another story, is I worked for Santam Insurance at some point, and it was one of the most difficult environment. They've got the history of being very Afrikaans and very, very, very rigid, you know. You don't put a red and a white. If it's red, it's all red, gotcha. All white, all of that. And so that way of working, I learned it from there. But also I work a lot with, in my other life, I work a lot with the Germans, and I think I learned a lot of professionalism, a lot of doing things the right way from the Germans and from the Afrikaners in Santam. So I'm also saying, who says non-profit should not be run professionally? Who says it should not be a corporate type of environment? Because if you come, whether you're a volunteer or we are working on a project that pays you a salary, had you been working for a company, I won't be calling names, but had you been working for a company that is owned by whoever, you wouldn't be behaving the way you do here. So why we are serving our own people? Why shouldn't we keep the standard? Why shouldn't we keep professionalism? Why shouldn't we keep the diligence? Why must we be so careless and give a don't care attitude when we do it? So I either do a thing or I don't. That's it. There's no in between.
And as your slogan goes, building capabilities.
Yes.
And what's fascinating is that every single day you strive for your team to be professional.
Yeah.
How was it managing that?
So I'm a believer that when you choose, because I don't have people that are volunteers or staff at the LYD that are recruited. The only people that I have recruited are the professional nurses.
Okay.
Everybody else, they came forward wanting to volunteer. So if you make a choice that you want to be a part of Lungelo Youth Development, the minute you step on those premises, you subscribe to who we are, to what we do, and how we do things. So you are saying I'm going to deliver diligently, I am going to explore opportunities, and I am going to allow myself to be built, because we are all born with some capability. I actually want to give you a quote from Maya Angelou, if you allow me.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Please do.
So we are all born with something that we are very capable. And all that we need is for it to be built. So the quote from Maya Angelou says, one isn't necessarily born with courage, but one is born with potential. Without courage, we cannot practice any other virtue with consistency. We cannot be kind, true, merciful, generous, or honest. So we are born with something, all of us. We just need to build on it and grow.
Wow. So for the viewers
Yes.
that really want to get to know LYD, I mean, it's easy for me to elaborate on it, but just for the viewers, what is LYD through your eyes?
So Lungelo Youth Development is a resource center for the young people. It's a safe space. It's a place where we say, I am sad to see someone come through LYD and leave being the same person. It's a space where you should say, I found myself, I discovered myself, I learned something that I did not know. It is a stigma-free environment. It is an environment where we say, we allow you to be. You have got the right to be. So that's where the word Lungelo comes from, that you have got the right to be you. You've got a right to be exposed, to be your skills honed. You've got the right to be given a platform to grow, to be a better person. You have got a right to get out of the complaining and the expecting mentality. You've got the right to be saying, I stand out, I want to be me. So that's what Lungelo Youth Development is about. It says you've got a right to be. We give you the platform. It's up to you how far you push yourself.
Very fascinating. And you, over the years, to me, you've managed to find, I mean, you have a talent for finding the right people for certain positions. And I've seen the way you move, that you're very strategic and you are able to plant a seed 3 years before, knowing that, okay, in 3 years' time, I might just need you, but let's just keep you within the distance for the right time. Where did you learn that?
As much as I'm the kind of person that everywhere I go, it does not matter who I come into contact with. It could be an elderly person who sits on a street corner that is selling corn, or in a corporate boardroom where I come across high-profile people. It doesn't matter. For me, a human being is a human being. They possess something that I can learn. So I always learn. So I cannot pinpoint where I learned it from, but I get it from somewhere. But above all, look at the story of the mustard seed in the Bible. Have you seen a mustard seed?
I've seen it.
So look at a seed, when you plant a seed, and tomorrow you find a lemon tree, huge tree. But think about the seed that was planted there. It didn't grow immediately. Somebody had to nurture it. Somebody had to look after it. Somebody had to water it. Somebody had to take out the weed and let it grow. So this tree started from somewhere. I can also say it is something that was planted in me as a child. I come from a family where there's no room for excuses or complaining. Life goes on. If it happened, it happened. Move on. You cannot dwell on that. What changes? Nothing changes. So find a solution, find an alternative. So wherever I fail, that was planting a seed. So if I fail there, I planted a seed, then I must take out the weed, which means I must move away from what made me fall and nurture what will grow tomorrow and serve me or serve a purpose.
Yeah. And then if let's say I was friends with Mom Mary in high school.
Yeah.
Who was Mom Mary in high school?
I don't know. I don't even have friends from high school. I didn't have friends. I was friends with my own sisters and my own brothers. I come from a very big family. There's 7 of us at home. And we didn't have friends outside. For various reasons, but basically we were told there's enough of you at home, you'll be friends with each other. But in high school, I was just one of those average girls. Didn't stand out, didn't do anything extraordinary, who failed matric, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I failed my matric. I will not tell you in which year because then, but it was those years of things were rough in the 80s. So things were rough in that year. I don't even remember if we wrote, but I failed my matric. I had to repeat. So I was just one of those. Can't even remember myself.
And now you are an international speaker. You travel.
Yes.
How did you get into that space? There, I'm very curious.
Okay. Here I'm going to mention people's names.
Got you.
So there's an organization called AFS. Okay. Originally it was called American Field Service, but it's not American Field Service anymore. It is AFS. And I lived in Soweto, Edlamini. And our neighbor was, this family had a lovely young man called Bongani Kumalo. Today he's a mining guru. I think the last I knew he was CEO of Exaro. Bongani was a lovely young man that we just adored in my family. My husband and I just loved Bongani. And he just knew how to play on my emotions. So Bongani was volunteering for AFS. So they used to host students that come from abroad, that come to school in South Africa, and students were hosted in families. So there was a girl from Finland who was in a family in Cape Town, and it was school holidays. He wanted to come to Soweto. I mean, who wants to come to South Africa and not come to Soweto? So this girl was in Cape Town, but he wanted to come to Soweto to come spend his school holidays there. And Bongani could not find a host family for him. Then he knew that there's the Mlambos next door who really liked him. And Bongani came to us to ask, and we're like, and I'm one of those, I come from that era. So I was like, a white person in my house? No. A white person sleeping in my house? Nah. But the young man had us around his little finger. So he was like, okay, let her sleep one night in your house. And then I will move her. We will find her family. And the young lady was hosted in my house for that day. And needless to say, here we are today. More than 20 years later, I cannot count the number of people that have lived in my house, that were hosted in my home from various parts of the world. Yeah. So that's how I came into that space. So it was a space that was interesting for me. And I was like, well, I just learned that this young woman does not even understand what's going on in South Africa. She has got no clue about the history of South Africa. So maybe I should allow myself to understand how the rest of the world thinks about us. And then I got invited to the committee meeting or chapter meeting. And I was like, okay, I like this. It's called intercultural learning. Maybe it's a different space. It's not, because, you look at all white people, and then now this one was different. She did not mind to sleep in my house. And so I was like, okay, what am I going to feed them? And like, you come there, they eat what you eat. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is a different space. So I allowed myself to get to understand the space. Then I got involved in the intercultural space, eventually got appointed on the board of directors and became the chair of the board. And I just grew from there.
And now you have been involved in sending 2 generations from LYD to Germany and moving on to your 3rd generation. Can you just tell us from the beginning how you managed to maneuver that and what your vision is with regards to that intercultural learning via Lungelo Youth Development.
Okay. So when I was involved in AFS Interculture South Africa, and at board level, of course, you go to different meetings in different parts of the world. One of the things I saw was that the exchange programs were looked at as if they are for the elite. So I looked at how different organizations worked, and I was like, one day I'm going to have do my own exchange programs. I will have my own international partner and tailor the program the way I would want it, not the way one size fits all. Because I mean, the AFS program, of course, AFS is more like franchise in different parts of the world. Headquarters is in New York, and everybody else is like a franchise. So you have to operate the way they do it. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to operate as a franchise. Yes, in the beginning, I was taking volunteers through AFS because of my loyalty. Once I left AFS as a board member, once I stepped down, I said, okay, now this is my opportunity to take what is best from what they were doing, and I took best from everybody else and added my own and structured my own program. Then at a conference in Johannesburg in 2020, just before COVID, actually it was in March, just before COVID, I met, there was a program introduced in 2016 to 2019. The program was called AGY, Africa German Youth Initiative. And I was involved in that program. It's basically a program for Africa by German government funding various programs. And one of the programs that they were funding or they were introducing, I cannot pronounce the German word, but one of the programs they were introducing was the cultural exchange, where cultural, I mean in the art space, exchange programs. So we had this conference. So at this partner matching conference, I met Susanna, who did not come for me. She came with her German partner, and I was meeting my other German partner. But while we were there, I got to engage with Susanna, and we found that we kind of liked each other. We kind of had a lot in common. And we spoke about what are the chances of us to have our own program exchanges between our organizations. And we were like, that's an idea. We can work on it. Let's explore that. We always explore opportunities, by the way. So then there was COVID and everything was stopped. During that period of COVID, we had a lot of, Susanna is the director of a German organization who today, LKJ, who is today a partner of Lungelo Youth Development. And during COVID, it was an opportunity for us to have meetings to structure what we want. So that's where we wrote the program. And we agreed and said, this is what we want. This is how we want it. After COVID, then we said, okay, let us agree to start by sending one way. We don't do north-south, we do south-north first. And the reason for doing south-north is because we're starting out this program and we want to build it. So we want to have enough alumni that we cushion it. When we start doing north-south, then it is well supported, it will work well. Because I don't want to start something that will fail. That's one of my other things. I want to start something. I don't rush. I want to do it at my own pace and make sure that I do it and I do it well. So that's where the South-North exchange program started. And we started with a pair. We started with two that we recruited, very rigorous recruitment process. And we sent our first two volunteers to Germany. They came back last year. They went in September 2023. They came back in 2024, August 2024. We sent the next set that is coming back this year. And we've just finished recruitment for another two that will be going to Germany. Yeah. So that's where it came from.
And I mean, we know we can provide opportunities to the youth.
Yes.
but they take it for granted. And let's just be real. What are the challenges that you face during that process of, let's say, trying to get people, let's say you put a call out, trying to get people, particularly around Mzingazi, Richards Bay, to avoid getting people from certain schools, especially in Richards Bay, those very elite schools, and trying to essentially decentralize it? What are the challenges that you face trying to get that particular target market to go overseas, if I could put it that way?
So part of my wish was that, you remember I mentioned that exchange program space was seen for being for the elite. And I was like, I want to give the young people from really previously, or not even previously, from the really disadvantaged communities, also the ones that come from rural villages, they're not exposed to these things. They never hear about it. They never dream or see themselves in an aeroplane somewhere in the world, because they think this is just for some people, not for them. So when we advertise, we restrict it. We don't advertise it to everybody. In the first year, we made a mistake of just opening it up. And we were getting requests from all over, from people that speaks private school English, to people that goes to schools that have got a surname, you know what I say. Yeah. And then we realized that that was a big mistake. We need to eliminate this. So now when we advertise, we restrict it. We say, we don't even send it out there. Yes, we say youth in King Cetshwayo district, but then we restrict it. We say we want people within Umfolozi and Umhlathuze municipalities. Gotcha. And then we send it only to certain groups. So I would send it to a youth leader in a certain area that I know, then they put it out in their WhatsApp groups, because we try to restrict it to these young people. Yeah, that's how we're doing it. It is difficult. Part of the challenges is that because they don't think that they have got the potential, they've got what it takes, they look at it, they read it, and they don't advertise, they don't apply. And then you ask, why didn't you apply? Don't you meet the requirements? Yes, I do. So why didn't you apply? I don't think I will make it. Why? Why do you underestimate yourself? Why do you don't look at yourself and say, yeah, I want this, I will do this. But I also find that one of the other challenges is that when we advertise, we say everything else, the interview and everything, and the selection process will be in English. Already people don't trust themselves, so they're a bit uncomfortable in conversing in English throughout all the time. And the reason why we say the selection process will be in English, we assist to try and make them comfortable, so that, because the final selection is done with the Germans and they do it in English. So I don't want people to lose opportunities because they're not speaking the language that assists them to be able to get ahead. Some challenges are from parents, that you find parents that says, I cannot let my child go so far away. What's going to happen? What if they die when they're there? And I'm like, why do you think about dying when they're there? What if they die if they're in South Africa? You're going to wake them up. It's the same thing. If they die while they're there, they will be repatriated back home and you'll be able to bury your child. So they could die while they are out of the house to the mall, because people think of the worst.
Yes.
People are scared and not comfortable. When I brought that in the area, it was a foreign concept. And that's when people were calling me all sorts of names, thinking I'm there to steal their children, thinking of human trafficking. How do you get to send somebody so far away to Europe where they don't pay a dime? It's all for free. How come? So what's in it for me? Am I selling them? So for them, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of uncertainty about it. So those are some of the challenges.
And really, congratulations.
Thank you.
From having it as an idea to now having two alumni, and then next year
the third cohort is about to go.
You know, and you just keep expanding. What is your overall, for them in particular?
Yeah.
What is your vision for those that have gone through LYD? What do you want them to come back and achieve? Because it's not a vacation. They are there to build their own capabilities. But what do you want for them?
I want them to come back and be the little light that will shine. Mm-hmm. The little light that will say, it is doable, it is possible. A little me from Zingazi did go spend a year in Germany, did go and learn some skills, did go and be exposed to learning a different culture. And I'm hoping that when they come back, they would have learned professionalism. They would have learned a lot of other soft skills that they will be able to use and implement. But above all, I'm hoping that it will make their CV look better and open doors and other opportunities for them in life. That's my wish.
Nice. And then you are the South African representative for good deeds.
Oh, yes.
And just recently, we were out there in Pelican Island and Richards Bay combating, or let's say going against a particular SDG, number 6, which is water and sanitation. What is Good Deeds Day, and what was happening on Good Deeds Day in Pelican Island in Richards Bay?
Okay, so Good Deeds Day, it's an international movement. It's a movement. It's not an organization. It's a movement of people in the world doing good, people that are committed to do good. I mean, we all want some good, and we all have got some good in us. For you to walk by the gate and greet the security and he recognize you and you smile, you made his day. That's a good deed. So good deed is not just about going to give somebody a sandwich. Mm-hmm. It's about making somebody feel better. And because that's how I feel, I always want to make a difference. I always want to reach out. I always want to contributing to making this world a better place. When I was introduced to Good Deeds Day movement, and I was like, this is something that I subscribe to, and I would love to hang out, if that's a lack of a better word. I would like to hang out with like-minded people that really wants to see good in the world, that wants to celebrate kindness, goodness, spread it, think good, speak good, and do good. And yeah, so when I was asked, because, to be a Good Deeds Day country representative, you don't get voted or anything. You get asked that we want somebody who would be able to think good, to do good, and to spread goodness in the country, who is willing to promote this. And I was like, that's what I live. That's what I subscribe to. And I'm willing to do it. So they gave me an opportunity that, do you want to try? I'm like, yes, I want to try. And 3 years later, we are here. For me, I would one day want to see the whole of South Africa celebrating Good Deeds Day. So it is called Good Deeds Day because we say one day in a year, just one day in a year. It happens around April every year, just before Easter or just after Easter. Every year in April, actually before, where everybody in the world does something good for that day. Let us all forget negativity. Let us forget the bad, the wars, the famine, every negative thing that's going on in the world. Let us all celebrate goodness. Let us all spread goodness. Let us all be kind to each other. And because in South Africa we have got the 18th of July, which is the Mandela Day, Good Deeds Day is like Mandela Day. But then let us not make Mandela Day once a year. Let us make Mandela Day every day. So let us make every day a Good Deeds Day. That's what it is. What we do in our organization, we base our Good Deeds Day activities on sustainable development goals, because the United Nations works on sustainable development goals, and they're very relevant in our communities. We use performing arts, so water and sanitation is one of the big issues in the community where I work in Richards Bay, and actually it's one of the issues in South Africa. I mean, to this day, we still have got children that die in a pit toilet somewhere in a village in South Africa, because we don't have proper sanitation. We don't have good sanitation. Look at all the rains at the moment. We're not harvesting rainwater. We've got water everywhere. Yet today, actually, I saw a message today from one of the ward councillors in Mzingazi saying there will be no water in the community. And yet it's been raining nonstop for 2 weeks. People's houses are submerged in water. So we're not harvesting rainwater. We've got issues with water. We don't have proper clean water. Think about people that do not afford to go buy water because tap water is not healthy. It's a health hazard. So that is why we chose Sustainable Development Goal number 6 that says clean water and good sanitation for everyone.
I see. No, it's a beautiful movement, and what I enjoy is that you're creative, man. I mean, as much as you claim you're a slow learner and all that stuff, we see you. And I think for me, an X-Facted youth, knowing that what you are doing for that particular community, we want to assist and try spread that. And I learned a lot from you, and I know that I'm still learning from you. If we were to switch roles, knowing what you know now, and let's say you had a second chance to be young and to use the resources given to us in this particular time. I mean, now we're in the 4th Industrial Revolution. It's no longer apartheid. What would you have done differently?
I would have done good. What's your question?
So let's say you had this dream in your early 20s to have a Lungelo Youth Development. And through the years of having Lungelo Youth Development, if you were to switch it now, and let's say I am you, you are me, and we are able to use what we have now in my generation, what would you have done differently? Because there's always this thing, the older generation is like, yo, if I had those opportunities that you had, I would be doing this, I'll be doing that. And there's that stigma that we take things for granted as the younger generation. And you guys, which we admit to a certain degree, that you are able to, when there's a small opportunity, because you've been deprived from it, you are able to squeeze as much out of it. So let's say you had an opportunity to grow this brand called X-Facted Youth or grow LYD. What are those small nuances that you would have done differently to make a larger impact in a quicker space of time? But also, what other things would you have picked up that you feel like you can integrate into Lungelo Youth Development, whether from another organization, from other podcasts, from movies? What would it be, in your opinion?
It would be to go deep, not to sit and expect things to come to me. What I find with the younger generations is that I think you're spoiled for choice, yet you don't make the choice. I don't know if you know what I mean. You really are spoiled for choice. You've got a lot of options, and yet you don't go for it. You wait for it to come to you. We are quick to point fingers at the government, and I always ask, who is the government? Why are you not the government? And exactly the same question that you're asking, I always ask the young people, if tables were turned, and you were the president in Ramaphosa's place, what would you do? If the whole cabinet was on an aeroplane, God forbid, was on an aeroplane from Pretoria to Cape Town, and they were all wiped out, who will step in and take over and run the country? So stop pointing fingers at the president or the current cabinet and do something to make sure that you make a difference. They can only do so much. What are you doing? You've got all these platforms. Who are we reaching out to? We're all sitting on gadgets. I mean, children don't even talk to each other. You walk into somebody's house, a child does not even lift their head. They don't know who's there. They're just here. You can come in and ask, hey, I'm looking for your mommy or your daddy. Oh, they check they are there or they are gone out. They don't even lift their head to look who is there. They're sitting on the gadgets. Adults, they sit in a room, 6 people sitting together. Everybody's looking on their gadget. Nobody's looking at each other. And yet, what are they looking at? Where is the dream of Martin Luther King that I have a dream? What are we doing about that? So somebody did something years ago. What are you going to say? What legacy are you leaving? Who is going to say Bliss was here? Who's going to say somebody that was born in 2000 was here and this is what they have done? Why are we sitting? I'm sure if tables were turned and I was born in this day and age, I probably would have my own app instead of sitting on TikTok, on WhatsApp, on X, on whatever other app that somebody else created and I don't create my own. That would work for me, that would assist to create opportunities, to generate income that will assist the economy of our own country. I would have done that. I've never been the one to sit and complain, even though I come from very disadvantaged times. I remember when I started working in the insurance industry, none of us were allowed to be clerks. And I said, I will be a clerk because I wanted. Who said I can't? And when there was some exams and I said, can I also write? And no, you cannot write this because it's reserved for certain people. And I was like, but who says I cannot pass it? Let me write. I do have a brain like all of them. Let me write and let's see. And I actually passed it. So it's going for it. It's not sitting and complaining and find fault with everybody. You're not an angel. You make yourself a victim. So if you sit here and complain, oh, Mina, but I didn't get this because nobody did this. What did you do? You're not an angel. None of us is. So go out, grab it, and go for it. Give it a chance. If you fail, you failed. Try again. I failed matric and I tried again. Gotcha. And look at me today. So if I go and speak to hundreds of people in South Korea, nobody says, oh, but you failed matric. You cannot tell me anything. It's got nothing to do with anything. That was just a schooling system that gives me opportunities, but it does not open doors for me. It brings me a few steps closer, but it doesn't push you. You have to push yourself.
And the NPO space.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel, and you could correct me, but there's always, every day there's like a new NPO, a new NGO, but they don't understand what it means to have an NPO. In your opinion, what are the misconceptions around running particularly a non-profit or an NGO that you feel like the next generation of those who want to make a difference just need to think about before they decide to go to a Department of Social Development to register as an NPO?
You need to know, why do you want to start a non-profit organization? It's not a business. It is a non-profit. There's no profit in it. So why do you want to start a non-profit organization? I know of quite a number of people that would come to me and say, I want to start a non-profit organization and I would like you to mentor me. And I say, why? What do you want? oh, I want to be able to apply for funding. And I'm like, okay, you're in the wrong space. You're not supposed to be speaking to me because I'm not in it for funding. Funding will find me. I don't go out looking for funding. It will find me. I know you don't like that, but it's people have got a wrong idea about NPOs. People are in it for chowing the money because they think we chow a lot of money, and I still want to know where do we get that money. Where maybe I still have not found it yet. I need to know where do people get it from, because people think, oh, NPO people get a lot of funding that they don't use for the community, they chow it. Also, we find that people that want to clean their money, they think they can use the nonprofit organizations. I'm not one of those. That I always say, no, thank you. Unless I get trapped, but I've never been in that position yet, get trapped to accepting money that it needs to be cleaned. I also, you need to know and have some, you need to be decent as a nonprofit organization. I do not take, for instance, when somebody says to me, I've got old clothes that I want to give away. I'm like, old clothes belong in the bin. They don't belong to people. People, you don't give them old clothes, you give them extra clothes that you have. You know, I've got clothes that I want to give, not old clothes that I want to give away. What must I do with your own things, your old things? They're old, they're worn out, then they belong in the bin. They don't, I mean, you treat people that run NPOs and the beneficiaries as human beings. They're also human beings, they're decent. They're just not as fortunate as you. You don't cook food and say, I'm going to feed. I actually don't like the word feed, but because it's like you're feeding an animal, you know. I'm cooking food to go give to a nonprofit or to the underprivileged people or people in the streets. And yet it's not food that you'll eat in your house. You cook nonsense food that you want to go give away. So I'm the kind of nonprofit that says, if you don't respect me, then don't do it with me. If you're not decent, if you're not an honest human being, then don't do business with me. So we are perceived as dishonest people. We are perceived, it is perceived as a space where if you want to steal money, you can start a nonprofit. So a lot of people are in it for wrong reasons. There are those that are in it for real good reasons, and some are in it for being beggars. If I beg as Mary, I will not be able to get anything. But if I beg as a nonprofit, then people will feel sorry for me and they will give. It's not about that. You're not a beggar. You are here to make a difference. You are an extension to where the government cannot reach out. That's why we work a lot with government departments, because they cannot reach everywhere. So we are an extension. We are in the community. We are able to reach the communities better.
I'm glad you mentioned that, and we're going to get a bit controversial.
Okay.
But I think this is a necessary conversation. So what we've noticed at X Factor Youth is when we work with various NPOs, it's usually the non-profit organizations that have been around for a while that are white managed or light-skinned managed, that seem to get more funding, more donations, more sponsorship. And that is why I commend you for what you're doing, because you hear it in the corridors. Hey, my Mary manages this organization, Jengomlungu. You know, because of how structured you are. And unfortunately, we always assume, because you know, Otaki, we have this issue with being controlled by Munyutaki. It's a fact. And it's something that we just have to put out there. But what is your take on those organizations compared to a black managed organization who actually, you might find, needs the funding because they're actually doing the work, but there's that stigma of corruption, of people trying to clean money. How does that make it difficult for you as a proper running organization who's being denied because these corporates give you that paintbrush of it's black managed. Let's rather give it to our compadres, if I could put it that way.
You must not forget where we come from. And some people were doing things because we're taking back what belongs to us. So if we start a nonprofit organization and we get funded, I get 20,000 rand, 10,000 rand, it's for me, the other 10,000 will work. It's because it's my money, those people stole our resources, blah, 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 blah. So that mentality needs to change. Mina, there's only one Mary Mlambo. Well, there are other people called Mary Mlambo somewhere, but this one, there's only one me. My reputation, I have a reputation to protect. I've got my name to protect. I have got a path that I want some people to walk that path one day, and they need to say, I'm walking in Mother Mary's footsteps. I've always said excellence is my middle name. So excellence has to be the order of the day. Yes, funders and corporates and everybody prefer to use the previously, or rather the big organizations, mainly white owned, because they have built a reputation that they are trustworthy, they are accountable. We don't want to be held accountable. People will say, why must you give me your money and then you want to tell me how to do it? Come on, I want to, it's not about wanting to control you, but it's wanting to say, be accountable for the money. You cannot ask me for money that you want to buy this glass, and then when the money comes, you decide that, no, I don't want to buy the glass, I actually want to buy a book. That's not what we agreed on. So be responsible, be accountable, and we don't want to be held accountable. That's what the problem is. We don't want to keep records. We don't want to write things down. We don't want to we don't want to. Honestly, it's about accountability. It's about saying, I did what I wanted to do. Then people will trust you and say, okay, so you said you want to buy a glass, you bought a glass. Then I will give you more to buy 6 more glasses. So that's where the difference is that number 2 is that we were not taught money management. It's not in most of our black communities. Managing money is just not one of our things. We were just never taught. We don't come from a culture of money, so we don't know how to control money. So when you see a little bit of extra money, you think, wow, winning, so nobody will see. But that's not how it is. But it's about time that it changes. We cannot always have those previously white-owned non-profit organizations serving our community. We're not saying we don't want them. We're not saying they shouldn't serve our communities. But where are we? When are we going to take accountability and serve our own people and be there for our own people? Why must we always to make a difference when we can do it ourselves?
Exactly. I mean, as you're speaking, I mean, these days, the big person, exactly what you're saying is Ibrahim Traore, who has just... Hey man, he's catching heat because of what you're saying, that he doesn't want, in this case, Western funds or Western people coming to interfere with Burkina Faso. And he's taking heat, but he's managed to kind of break those chains slowly but surely. And I agree. I really do believe that stigma has to change, because we've evolved. I mean, some of us have gone to school, so we should have a better understanding. We might not be experts, but also we truly understand our problems. It's very difficult to us to go to Mlung and tell them we have this issue. But if you have lived that experience, you could try find a solution, because you know there's the trauma, there's the pain and all of that. And I really want to thank you for what you've done. I mean, you went to a completely different province and you just decided to assist and just really try and make a difference. Because I always ask myself, had LYD not been there, what would a 2025 look like for a young person in Mzingazi, in Richards Bay? Because it's the mornings when I wake up and there are kids that come to print because they don't have printers for their assignments. And it's those small things that, I mean, I won't lie. I mean, I came from very middle income. So there's things that I did take for granted. And every time I go to LYD, I get reminded that, hey, not everybody has what you had. Therefore, you need to keep making a difference. And every time I see you put in work, I'm like, I got to go back. There's clearly something that I'm missing. So I just like to commend you for doing the work that you do, because it's not easy. I mean, there's some other stories that you tell me outside of this. I'm like, your mental health, like, who checks up on you? But you still wake up early in the morning and you just try to make that community a better place. And it is not easy. And these conversations, I wanted to be a part of history. Because it's amazing. It really is amazing what you're doing.
You've just mentioned sorry to interrupt while you're speaking. You just mentioned that the stigma has to change. We must change it ourselves. Nobody's going to do it for us.
Exactly.
Honestly, nobody is going to do it for us. We have to do it ourselves. And I've seen it in places where you go to meetings. If you want to make sure that you're going to get that funding or somebody is going to even give you a hearing, you must bring a Ngamla with you. Until when? It just can't be like that always. I have seen where we have volunteers mainly from Europe. We've had from America as well, from the US as well, but mainly from Europe. We've got volunteers at the center. And the young people, when a volunteer says, please, can you come with me to go to town? People will tell you that, I know, they are white, they've got money, so they can buy lunch, they can pay for a taxi, I'm like, why? Where does that mentality come from? We need to change. And that's part of the things that we're saying. Understand, we cannot always go, because these white people, we go to them begging and making ourselves so poor and so useless. No, even if I don't have money to pay for lunch or to pay for a taxi, I would rather give another reason, not to say, oh, sorry, I can't go with you because I don't have money. Now you make yourself feel so, please feel sorry for me because I'm so poor, I'm black, and I'm an excuse for a human being. Come on. We need to snap out of it. So people need to change. So that stigma, nobody is going to change. We have to change it ourselves. Yes. The fact that you went to school does not mean that you know any better. I know smart people that did not go to school. I appreciate, those, as much as it put me through some difficulties, but I appreciated that opportunity of being exposed to going to sit under a tree on a Sunday morning where the Induna is sitting there and people of the community are bringing different issues. Of course, I was there for issues of wanting a piece of land to be able to build the youth center. But members of the community come there to this, I don't know what you call it, under a tree court. And they speak very important, valuable things there. Smart people. Important decisions are taken there. And when you hear the Induna or one of his elders or a chief speaking and giving a judgment on a matter, it's like, this is smart. This is very intelligent. So it is not always just about people that have gone to school. The challenge with people that have gone to school, they think they know better. And a lot of the times they want shortcuts. They want things that can be done quick. just a quick one I want to tell you is that I was reading something this morning on social media, and it actually made me laugh. Somebody wrote about 2 prominent people that are motivational speakers that, basically the person is saying, these people are selling their books. You're telling us about how we can make money and how we shouldn't feel sorry for ourselves and we shouldn't do this and shouldn't do that. But you don't actually show us how we should do it. And you come from a point of privilege because you had somebody that could give you a startup. I'm nobody. I come from somewhere. I'm a child of a kitchen girl and a garden boy, or just one single mother who works in my kitchen. So there's no money, there's no point to start at. And yet you come and tell me to buy a book that is 450 Rand when I don't have a 5 kilograms of mealie meal for my stomach in the house. Where am I going to get to buy a book, to read your book so that I'm able to make the kind of money that you're making? So we must always remember that, and I mean, all of this I didn't know before. I must be honest myself. Some things I got exposed to it with my work, that we must always remember that we don't all come from same backgrounds. We don't come from same environment. Some environments are completely different, and we need to learn to appreciate and treat everybody equally and appreciate everything else, because in everything there is a lesson and a positive one to learn.
And now we land this plane. What parting shots would you like the excellencies to grab from you that you feel, yes, let me let these people know this, just so that we can continue to have these conversations off air, and also know that, okay, once upon a time when you were watching this particular podcast, hey, Mary dropped this bar from whatever school of thought, whatever environment, now's your time.
Okay, this is actually not mine. I will quote it, but it's not mine. It was one American president long time ago. I think somebody Truman. He was an American president at some point. I think the 33rd president, I think.
Yes.
And he said, it is amazing what we can achieve if we don't care who gets the credit. So it's not about who gets the credit. It's about all the different good deeds put together, and the achievement would be great. And what we all put in will contribute positive to the development of this country. So we must explore this is now me, explore every available opportunity and build capabilities, because every one of us has got it in us, something small that can be built. It does not matter what steps you take. The fact is, there is something that you can do that can build this community, that can build our young people, that will run this country and make it a better world, a better South Africa, a better Mzingazi, a better whatever area for all of us one day.
Beautiful. And then before you leave,
yes,
I know you're not much of a hip-hop person, right? But there's this song that your son and myself keep thinking about when you walk through, and it's your favorite song, Nas.
Yes.
I know I can.
I know I can.
Be what I want to be.
And you can be what you want to be if you work hard at it. Nobody will do it for you. You have to work hard at it. And if you read the lyrics, I mean, it's a very long song. And I just love the song. And I remember the very first time I played that song, and my son was like, hey, where do you get that from? I said, what you people don't understand is that when I play a song, I listen to the lyrics. It's not just about the noise. And that's why some of the music, I wonder, what are you people listening to? Because the lyrics does not have a message, doesn't say anything to you. I listen, and this is where, that's what assists with my mental health. Because sitting alone and listening to a song like that, I'm like, wow, I wonder what motivated this guy to write this song. Did he know the impact that this song will have one day? So those are some of the things that I say: work hard, explore opportunities. Remember that you are creating a path. Somebody's going to have to follow in this path. When Whitney Houston said, Mariah Carey said, there's a hero inside of you. Did she know that one day Mary will be using that as a signature? Because if you look at my WhatsApp status, it has been that forever. There's a hero inside of you. It's up to you to awaken that hero. It's up to you to say, you are the hero. You can be what you want to be and work hard at it. You, nobody else but you. It all lies with you.
Indeed. And where should the excellencies follow? Where can they get your work? Just give us a shout out social media wise. Like, let us find LYD.
Okay. So my personal social media, my Facebook is Mary S. Mlambo. Mary, not Mary, not Marry, and not Merry Christmas, MEW, just simple Mary. S. Mlambo, MLAMBO. Lungelo Youth Development is on Facebook. Everywhere else we are right to be. It's a right to R, capital R, small y, T, alphabet 2, number 2, and alphabet B. So it's right, as in because we were trying to be hip with the young people. That's why we didn't say right as in the rights, but RYT. So it's right to be all social medias. We can reach us there on TikTok, on Instagram, on X, everywhere. We are there.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Thank you for the opportunity. And we are X Factored for excellence, or whatever you call the X for. We are there with you. Thank you for the opportunity. And it's a pleasure working with you.
Likewise. And thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, your excellencies, you heard it from Ma'am Mary Mlambo from the Lungelo Youth Development Organization out there in Richards Bay. Oh man, it's an honor. And I really like to thank you guys for really staying this long. You are indeed appreciated. And also the lessons that you learn here, I really hope that you get to take that, because in this space, it is not easy, but we still have to do the work. And like Mom Mary said, which she takes from Nas, you can be what you want to be. You just have to work hard at it. And everyone has a hero. It's time to awaken that hero. This is X Factored Youth, and this is the X Factored Show, where we bring excellence, exceptionality, extraordinariness, and the urge to exceed expectations. Thank you.
I'm part of the X Factor Youth. Put me on stage, you can find me in the book. Put me on a track like I'm stuck inside a booth. I'm that nigga, young nigga with the truth. Black body with a Jewish mind type.